I think if you were joining the British monarchy, you would really start to look around and look up and think to yourself exactly who should I connect with, stay friends with, and more importantly, not get anybody angered by. One of those people might be this particular senior royal. Hi, good morning, Neil Sean here in the very heart of London. Nice to see you today. Sorry, I've got the giggles already thinking about this story that's coming to your direction. Did make me laugh because, you know, this particular senior royal takes no nonsense. A little bit like one of my favourite royals, the Duke of Edinburgh. I loved him. I liked the fact that he was unfiltered. You know, people said he said the wrong thing. He said what he thought, and isn't that refreshing in this day and age? What would you have thought as this cancel culture brigade went on, and the woke nonsense and all that sort of stuff? Interesting, isn't it, you know? I think also when you think about it on a bigger picture, a bigger scale, I think it is fading, this woke stuff, because people are just laughing. Over here right now we have a situation where drag queens are going into young children's schools, by invitation I might point out, to teach them all about gender fluidity. And oh, who cares, you know? Drag queens really work very well late night in some bar or a hen do. End of. They're there to entertain, not lecture. But even drag queens have felt the pinch in their pocket, all thanks to the pandemic, and make no reason that's the only reason these drag queens are turning up at those schools. But as ever, the taxpayer is paying. Back as ever though to that breaking story. What I find fascinating with this particular story is that our wonderful Princess Royal, Her Royal Highness Princess Anne, is a no-nonsense sort of gal. You know, I've met her on many occasions, love her, think she's brilliant, produced stuff for her at the Savoy Hotel, and she came in, absolutely no fuss, but you knew you had to be on the ball. Do you know what I mean? Everything had to be done and ready. Not that she was going to get angry or anything, but you just wanted to do it. It was a mark of respect, and you didn't really expect to be sloppy in your work. So it's refreshing to find this particular story out, because apparently when she became inside the British monarchy, Meghan Markle sought out Princess Anne. Brave in itself, don't you think? And according to this good source, Princess Anne gave this very sage advice. Now, as we know, Princess Anne's the hardest working royal. I mean, just does endless amounts of engagements, doesn't seek the limelight, turns up, does the job, represents our wonderful monarch, Her Majesty the Queen, on many occasions. I thought the recent visit of them together to the Thames Hospice was wonderful, because you could just see that they delighted in being in each other's company, but they also took on the seriousness of the visit. And I think the monarch's visit, as I said, did such a tonic for the people in there, and the families also. Let's not forget those people who are also going through a very difficult time. But back to the story. Apparently Meghan left absolutely dumbfounded, because Princess Anne basically reiterated this mantra. She pointed out that it wasn't a working monarchy as such, it was a job, and you turn up and you do the job. You turn up on time, you're respectful, you do your research, you look interested in people and try and find out exactly what the project is or the charity that you're associated with. It's not about the clothes, the hairstyle, or the front pages. It's solely about the project in hand, whatever you're dealing with. She also pointed out, according to that good source, that whatever charities that you are associated with, you need to get in there, get involved, and give them the much help and advice, and more importantly, profile that is needed. Now, as we saw, Meghan didn't exactly embrace this advice, did she? Popped along to the National Theatre for a few nanoseconds, seemingly had a big lunch, and came out with an even bigger lunch, if you remember. Yes. And then, of course, you know, didn't really want to engage with many of the things. She did enjoy the Grenfell kitchen, but of course that was very high profile at the time, you know, and very tick boxy if you think about it, for Meghan's persona. But for, of course, Princess Anne and Meghan, were they the best of chums? Well, according to that good source, Princess Anne tolerates people, you know. If they're there and, you know, they're not necessarily delivering, she will, of course, make that effort, but not necessarily that much effort. And apparently, according to a good source, Meghan failed, in her eyes, to warm to Princess Anne. And more importantly, Princess Anne knew that Meghan would have a very short shelf life in the world stage of the British monarchy. Wise words, as ever, from our wonderful Princess Royal. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.